Hi, I'm Mark Tyrrell of Uncommon Knowledge and hypnosisdownloads.com, and welcome to Be a Great Conversation Starter. Talk to strangers with ease. 9 winning ways to make new friends. Don't talk to strangers. To which a pedantic and annoyingly bright 7-year-old might reply, "What, never? How about when I'm 40 at a party or having a job interview?" So advice, like most things, is relative, of course. Being totally at ease, striking up conversations with new people in social or business settings hugely improves life as you simultaneously have more fun and create more opportunities. But what if the prospect of starting a conversation leaves you feeling weaker at the knees than a jellyfish on stilts? Okay, what will I talk about? What am I going to say? I don't know what to say. What if they hate me? Okay, all these thoughts can go through your head. Shyness may have gotten you into the habit of always waiting for the other person to start the conversation. But what if they're shy too? Okay, so come on, let's change things. What stops people from starting conversations? Okay, principal reason for people avoiding instigating conversation is fear, especially the unnecessary fear that blocks opportunity. If you've always tended to wait until new people start chatting to you, then it may feel overwhelming to reverse that habit. Simply familiar. So what do people fear? Well, often they fear saying the wrong thing. But what does that mean? Well, actually, it's not so much what you say, within reason, but how you come across when you're saying it. Sure, confidently telling a stranger they have a nose the size of Trinidad is unlikely to win immediate friendship, however pleasant your demeanour, however nicely you say it. But the fact remains that when you're relaxed and confident, you'll transmit that comfort to the person or people with whom you're communicating. This means anything you say is more likely to feel right to them, within certain limits, of course. If you've ever felt afraid to start conversations with strangers, put the following ideas into practice and ramp up your conversation starter self-confidence, even with the most dour of people. So number 1, smile and the whole world smiles with you. Before approaching your victim, target, or imminent conversational partner, don't keep nervously looking at them as if they're a small pool at the bottom of a huge dive you're about to take. Smile and relax. You're not taking the plunge or risking everything. You're just being sociable. Research, check out reference 1 at the bottom of this, shows people will likely want to talk to you if you're smiling. But don't have to grin manically, ear to ear at people like a prom queen on acid, but a general smile will instantly make the prospect of talking to you more appealing. Also, when listening to others speaking, smile unless they're relating tales of their latest divorce. And remember, step number 2, remember having a conversation is a mutual experience. People who worry about not knowing what to say, or they're going to say the wrong thing, forget that when you communicate with someone else, you have the use of 2 brains. It's not so much, what am I going to say, as what are we going to talk about? What are we going to say? Initiating a conversation doesn't mean carrying the whole thing yourself. If you instigate a bonfire by lighting a match, then it burns. But it's not you personally burning the wood. You just kick things off. Okay. If I approach someone socially, I don't wonder what I'm going to talk about. I'm curious about what they're going to talk about. Introduce yourself and shake their hand. Okay, if it's a sociable setting. Hi, I'm Mark, and you are? And remember, when you approach someone for a chat, it's not just you, it's the 2 of you. And step number 3, show interest. Okay, a relative of mine had an almost military style of socially interrogating people, and I really do mean this. So, he'd come up to you and he'd say, "How's business? Is it profitable? Where are you living now? Is that expensive? When was your first sexual experience? What's the capital of Ecuador?" And he'd reel off all these, questions like an interrogator. It felt like an examination, but gentle, not too probing questions show that you're interested, and people find interested people interesting. Asking someone about themselves, nothing too personal, too soon, gives them the opportunity to help the conversation get going. Start by asking them about themselves as connected to the situation that you're in. In this way, you initiate conversation by getting them to speak. So you might say, so you know Jenny, is that through work? Then you can tell them how you know Jenny. This is fine as some kind of opener, but the conversation could end there if you don't take heed of the next tip. Step number 4, open up the conversation. If we don't light the fire in the right way, it may not take, and it's the same with conversation. Keep it going by asking open questions that require more than a yes-no answer. For example, you might say, so, you know Jenny? And this stranger might say yes. And you might say, well, that's really cool, great. And look at your watch. So hopefully they'll say more than just yes, but just to make sure, ask them a question that opens up the conversation. So you might say, okay, Jenny chose this place tonight. I really love this bar. What kinds of places do you usually socialise? Okay. So unless they're totally closed to conversation, in which case move on, you deserve better, or help them overcome their shyness, they'll give you a much more detailed response than a yes-no answer. But when you're talking, remember step number 5, self-edit. So imagine watching a James Bond movie that showed our suave super spy being put on hold for half an hour whilst trying to phone someone at his bank, followed by an hour's shopping in the high street. Okay, that'd be a great film, wouldn't it? Full of detail, not very interesting. We don't want all the mundane detail. We want to see the good bits. And it's the same with conversation. Being a great conversationalist is as much about leaving out stuff as it is about including stuff. No one likes to be regaled with masses of detail about the car insurance form that you filled out that morning, unless you can make it particularly amusing. If you see the other person's eyes glaze, notice rigor mortis in their body, or suspect they may be doing a closed-mouth, face-expanding yawn, you might just be committing slow boredom homicide. Brevity, it's been said, is the soul of wit, so edit. Don't bore with detail. Instead, ask yourself, what does this person need to know? Step 6, do use humour. If you find something funny, and it's not their appearance, then say so. People appreciate humour, and if they don't, maybe you need to be talking to someone else. Let the humour flow naturally from the conversation rather than using memorised gags from the bumper book of jokes circa 1982. So rather than going up to them and saying, did you hear the joke about? Make it fit the situation. Laughing together builds a sense of intimacy. And of course, if they don't find your amusing quips hysterical, there's clearly something clinically wrong with them. Step number 7, don't rely on the booze. Okay, drunkenly buttonholing a stranger, breathing beer at them while shouting haltingly into their ear might feel perfectly fine at the time, but you risk making the object of your inebriated attentions feel they've been hijacked by an excitable baboon, and this is a risk. The problem being that when we drink, we forget the law of diminishing returns, which is that beyond a certain point, which can be reached with just a glass or two, yet more booze will not make you more socially adept, quite the reverse. Step 8, don't take it personally. If after you've attempted to get a conversation going, the other person really doesn't seem to want to talk, then don't take it personally. As long as you aren't forgetting to ask open questions, obsessively interrogating, failing to self-edit, or drunkenly buttonholing them, then they must just be having an off night, or perhaps they need to learn a few conversational skills themselves. And finally, step 9, get your conversation starter mindset. To have the confidence to start conversations, it's a great idea to train your brain beforehand. Okay. Use self-hypnosis to visualize and so instill a pattern in your mind of yourself being calm, relaxed, friendly, and coherent when approaching new people. The more you relax with starting conversations, the more self-confident you'll be generally. As they say, strangers are just friends you haven't met yet. Okay, I know it's a cliche, but they do say this for a reason. So I hope you found that useful, and if you did, please hit like and subscribe. And if you want to hear when my next video is published, hit the notification bell below. I'm Mark Tyrrell of Uncommon Knowledge and hypnosisdownloads.com. And if you'd like to try some of my personal development products, head over to hypnosisdownloads.com and take a look around. And thanks for watching.